What it do, bruh? Talk of the town, Nintendo, Doc Trey, still holding it down, still make the best games, and you know this, bro. It's the truth. If you don't like it, you can have that seatbelt.
Alright, so I found something pretty interesting here. But before we get things started, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are not currently subscribed to this channel. Helps the channel out a lot. We discuss and unveil a lot of Nintendo Switch 2 stuff on this channel. So do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button. So roughly a year ago, it was said that a bunch of Xbox games would be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. There was actually a list of games that were supposed to come to the Switch 2, given by Nate the Hate. And so far from that list, quite a few of those games have either been officially announced for the Switch 2, or we had a ratings leak or something like that. But a good portion of those games are in fact coming to the Switch 2. One of those games on the list was Sea of Thieves, a former Xbox exclusive developed by Rare and was eventually ported over to the PlayStation 5. But this game was also on the list of games from Xbox rumored to be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. Well, there hasn't been any kind of update on that for quite a while, but I think I may have found something here that kind of backs up that rumor. So, Flix Interactive is hiring for an experienced rendering engineer, and I believe Flix Interactive is comprised of both ex-Rare developers and also, I believe, Radical Forge. But anyway, so it says we're seeking an experienced rendering engineer to build, optimize, and maintain multi-platform rendering architecture targeting PC and console platforms. You will design cross-platform rendering systems, develop platform-specific backends, and ensure consistent performance and visual quality across a diverse hardware and landscape. It says responsibilities: develop and maintain rendering backends for DirectX 11 and 12 on PC, Xbox Series X and X, DirectX 12, and PlayStation 5 GPU APIs. Build scalable cross-platform graphics architecture, including GPU, resource and memory management, command lists, queue abstraction and submission, descriptor, building systems, and resource lifetime tracking, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here's where things get interesting. So it says implement platform-specific optimizations leveraging async compute, variable rate shading, GPU-driven pipelines, and till-based rendering considerations. And in quotations, it says Switch and some Android devices. Now, that first part could have just been them asking for just more general experience. But where things get really interesting is when you go down to where they ask for certain desirable skills and technologies. And they're looking for someone with experience with other modern graphics APIs, such as Vulkan, OpenGL ES for Android, Switch and Switch 2 low-level GPU APIs, and Switch 2 DLSS implementation. So they are specifically looking for people that know how to not only develop for Switch 2, but also have skills in utilizing Switch 2 DLSS implementation, which means that this job listing for whatever this game is definitely coming to the Switch 2 and will utilize DLSS. Now, the reason why this job listing in particular is interesting is because Flix Interactive just happens to be the co-developer of Sea of Thieves. And they're not just someone that just helped with little things here and there. No, they've literally been the co-developer of the game with Rare since launch. And not only that, they are largely responsible for handling its multi-platform development. So they handle the large share, large majority of this game being ported to the PlayStation 5. So if they are looking for someone with Switch 2 experience that knows how to implement Switch 2's version of DLSS, that means that this project, this listing, is for a game that will come to Switch 2. Which lends more credibility to Sea of Thieves coming to the Switch 2, because this, outside of, I think, they worked on that Mafia game, this is literally like the last big project that they've worked on and continue to work on. So the chance of this being specifically for Sea of Thieves is extremely high. So, I mean, I didn't have any doubts that the game would come to the Switch 2 anyway, but with this find, this seems to back up not only the game coming, but maybe the game being announced very soon. And that's very interesting given the rumor that Xbox is trying to go back to maybe, or rethinking releasing their exclusives on other platforms. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of these games have already been, they're already either finished or close to being finished, and if they're already in development, already far in development for Switch 2, they're more than likely going to still come out for Switch 2, whether they decide to, whether Xbox decides to try to go back to full exclusives or not, like, unless they just want to throw away even more money. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Do you plan on getting Sea of Thieves for the Nintendo Switch 2? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next video. You know, I'm actually really interested in this game finally getting announced for the Nintendo Switch 2, especially for the people that said this game would never come, because I get to title the video Sea of Thieves. Perfect.